project where we inspire you to love yourself. I am going to try to fix my uh, lighting here, and I'm working on it too, y'all. I been trying to get like multiple lights and stuff in here, but the background light seems to be doing okay. We don't have that much rain anymore. Um, but yeah, welcome to the Inspiration in 30. I'm so glad that you guys decided to come on and join us. I appreciate all of you guys who actually come on each and every week. Deliver some good inspiration. And I just want to thank you for all the support. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to be doing a lot of interviews and really doing a lot of work in this area. And I'm so glad that you guys decided to choose this platform to actually come and learn something. Hi, Louise. Today I'm going to tell you guys a story. Okay. I've been trying to figure out how um, to teach how we look at different situations in our life. When things go crazy and when things go wrong, how can we change our perspective of how we see things in our life, right? And so I was looking around and I was searching everywhere, looking online, and I was doing this yesterday. And what I found was this great story that I'm going to read to you. And I want you to get a pen and paper if you have it, because I think this story will definitely help, and it's a good story. So let me get my book because I wrote it down because I didn't want to miss anything. Right? Here's my book. I didn't want to miss anything, and I wanted to make sure that you guys got it, because when you do, and when I got it, I said, man, this is something that I can actually see myself practicing, right? But here's a story, and I want you to pay attention to the story. Uh, and it comes from a Buddhist story, right? So it says, a man is chased by a tiger. Suddenly, he encounters an abandoned well. He jumps in, hoping that the tiger can't reach him. But then he realizes there's a poisonous snake at the bottom of the dry well. Before he reaches the bottom, he grabs the root poking out of the wall and holds on. The tiger looks at him from the top, waiting for him to get out, and a snake is waiting for him at the bottom to fall down. All of a sudden, two mice appear from the hole in the wall and start chewing on the root that he's holding on to. Now, what can he do next? Now, let me read that again for everybody who just came on, okay? When we talk about when we are in undesirable situations of what to do, here's a story that I found. A man is chased by a tiger. Suddenly, he encounters an abandoned well. He jumps in, hoping that the tiger can't reach him, but then he realizes there's a poisonous snake at the bottom of this dry well. Before he reaches the bottom, he grabs a root poking out of the wall and holds on. The tiger looks at him from the top, waiting for him to get out, and the snake is waiting for him at the bottom to fall down. All of a sudden, two mice appear from the hole in the wall and start chewing on the root that he's holding on to. Now, what can he do? So when I saw this story and I read it, I said to myself, you know, at this point, homeboy can't even see his way out of anything. He's holding on for dear life. He has two mice chewing on the root that he's holding on to. He has a poisonous snake at the bottom, and he has a tiger waiting for him at the top. And so I said to myself, I wrote this down. I said, what happens when we can't see our way out? When things happen to us in life where all hell is breaking loose, and it seems like everything is going crazy in our life. We got a tiger at the top, we got a poison snake at the bottom, we got mice chewing on the last bit of stuff that we holding on to. How do we keep ourselves in a position where we don't go crazy, right? Because everywhere we look, there is no way out, right? At least we think. And when I was thinking about this, I said to myself, I said, most of us, when we are in situations like this, the natural thing for us to do is panic, right? Because we so upset that life is throwing so much at us that we can't even figure out how in the hell we gonna get out, right? And then I wrote down, I said, of course, we all run into difficulties, and life is always going to throw stuff at us, right? And I said, what if when our security is stripped from us, when we feel like that things are just not working out, right? The first thing that we do is we try to blame other people for our issues, right? We try to blame the world because of what's happening to us, right? Now, for those of you who are joining us, I just told the story about a guy who is in the well. He was being chased by a tiger. He went into a well thinking that he can get away from the tiger, only to find out that there's a poisonous snake at the bottom. So he's holding on to the root of a tree inside of the well, only for two mice to be chewing on the damn root, which makes him panic, right? So now that we are in this situation, when everything in life seems like it's falling apart, and we are panicking, and we're trying to figure out how do we get out of this situation, what is the first thing that we do? Fear comes up. We run to church to pray to God, to ask God to help us take it away. We consult everybody else to see if they can help us to get out of the situation, right? We try to pull on and claw on everybody that we can to ease our pain. But I like what the guy said inside of this story. He said, can you consider something? Can you consider that sometimes things fall apart to only fall into place? That most of the things that happens to us in our life where we don't see no way out is only happening in order for something new to fall into place, right? Because the only way that change happens, y'all, is that we have to be able to give up something that is comfortable for us, right? We have to be able to give up this whole thing of security, right? And that's a hard thing to do, especially where you have a lion up here, a poisonous snake down here, and a little bit that you holding on to, a freaking mouse is chewing at that, right? And so when things fall apart, how do we see our way out? The first thing that the guy says is that we have to be able to not really panic and jump at fear, but really calm ourselves down and assess our situation and realize that change is happening in our life. That we have to realize that if we are going through all this stuff, right? And if we are having all these issues, that we have to sit and assess the situation and say to ourselves, there's a big change that's happening in our life, in my life, because I don't see no way out to get me back comfortable to where I was. Think about when we talked about the butterfly, right? How the butterfly is in a cocoon, he's fighting for his life, he's trying to, break out, but in the end, he becomes this beautiful butterfly. But he goes through so much on the inside where on the outside looking in, you wouldn't think that he's going to make it, right? And so he said the first thing that we need to do is to assess the situation and recognize that when all hell breaks loose like that, that change is happening in our life. And usually that change is for the better, even if we don't want to accept it, right? Even if we are in a position where we're struggling and we're crying and we're holding on for dear life, like this dude who's in the well, and everything that we're trying is just not working. You get what I'm trying to say? He also said, after we sit and assess the situation, we have to stay calm and and change our perception about what is happening around us and to us. And I wrote that part down too. He said, our perception decides our mood. And when we rely on outside things that determine our mood, like people and pleasure and all those things, we start to lose sight of who we are, and we allow these outside things to predict our mood, where quite naturally we are so clouded and jaded we can't even see that the change is actually happening. Because while we're sitting in the thick of it, we're not thinking that this is happening for my good or anything like that. We're saying, God, take this pain away from me, right? We're saying, what the hell is going on and why is this happening to me? We're usually complaining. Where he said, we have to be able to open ourselves up and understand that if this stuff is happening to us at this level, that most definitely there is something changing in our lives, and it's usually for the better, because where you are is too comfortable. Okay. He also says we have to get comfortable with change. Nothing is going to last forever. Nothing is ever going to stay the same, including us. We get older. Eventually, we're going to pass. We grow, right? Eventually, we outgrow people. And we have to be okay with that, because sometimes people outgrow us and they leave. And we believe that we can't do well without them, like we talked about yesterday, where at the same time, what we need to realize is that this growth is good for us, right? So the challenges that are coming is to help us turn into these butterflies that we know we are. Does that make sense to everybody? And so then what I like, right? He said, of course, we can get in a great panic. So if you was this guy in a situation, he says in the story, right? Um, the guy is now hanging on for dear life. But when the guy calmed down, he realized that there was some honey dripping from the tree above him. And what he said was, well, if this is it, and the only option I have is to get bitten by the poisonous snake with these mice who were chipping away at me, let me find the good in this and let me go ahead and have a little bit of this honey, because I can't control the outcome of what's going to happen to me, but I can enjoy the moment. I can look at what is good in my life at this particular time. And so he said that the guy let the honey drip on his face, but then he decided to open his mouth with joy and actually taste the honey while he's still holding on for dear life, while these mice are still chipping at him, and while the snake and the tiger is waiting on him, right? I love this story, y'all. And the other thing that he says, which I love, he said, finding joy in the midst of change or circumstances is out of the norm. Since most of us panic, we don't come out as strong as we want to because we are so focused on what's going on. We can't see the joy of what we are. We can't see the joy in what is happening to us in the present, right? So then he says, finding joy in your darkest hour is the key to keeping your control in the midst of the storm. So while all hell is breaking loose, I don't care what it is. It could just be the pen on your damn desk that somebody gave you, who you can think about and laugh about, that will bring you joy in that moment in the midst of a storm. If it's nothing around you that you can see to help you get through the moment, then try your best to do something, find something, because it is only your perception about what's going on that is giving you the grief and giving you the pain. Where in the background, change is really what's happening to you, which is out of your control. There's nothing that you can do to change everything that is going on in your life in that storm, right? We can't focus on the shoulda, coulda, wouldas in this point. Well, I should have did this and I wouldn't have been there. I should have made this move and maybe the tiger wouldn't be up there. And I should have went around the well instead of in the well. And now I wouldn't be looking at a snake. All that stuff don't matter. Because you racking your head thinking about what you shoulda, coulda, woulda done. The storm is already here. So why not find joy in whatever it is that you can? And find joy in the midst of the storm. That's what was the whole point of the guy holding on for dear life. But he found joy in just of just licking the honey that was coming down from the tree. Right? And so he said, when we find ourselves in this situation, we have to remind ourselves that things change, so that we understand the concept of the meaning of this too shall pass. And that's good and bad. Because what he said was, we as people only want to use that phrase, this too shall pass, for bad things. But we got to understand that in everything, good and bad, that this too shall pass. And since we know that good things are not going to last forever, and that bad things are not going to last forever, we can go ahead and adjust our minds and our lives to know that when a storm comes, that when happiness is here and everything is going well, and you are in this bliss, you have to be able to tell yourself, I love this, but this too shall pass. You get it? So he says, knowing that and accepting that, we will be able to handle change better in our lives, because when it comes against us, we're not so afraid and we're not panicking, because we understand that simple philosophy that nothing good lasts forever and nothing bad lasts forever, right? And then he goes on to say, he said, all we have to understand is that things are shifting in our life. It is in darkness that we find change, which we know already, right? So he goes on with the story, which I love. He said, so the tiger was hungry, and so it leaned over to try to catch the guy, and it fell into the well, and it fell to the bottom, crushing the snake, and it broke its neck. The man was able to climb out and survive. So the whole point of the story is, no matter how miserable life may seem, the solution may be at your doorstep, as the course of the wind always turn to our advantage. I love that story, right? And he also said, it is foolish to think it always have to be a positive outcome. We can't do anything about what life throws at us, but we can control how we react. And that was the end of the story, right? And I thought that was the best illustration of how we actually deal with storms and how we deal with ourselves when we are faced with so many things where we feel like that there is no way out. We got to know and understand and accept that life is filled with challenges, good and bad. And that because we know that things don't last forever, that the only thing that we have, which is the moral of the story, the only thing that we have is our perception of how we look at a situation, our faith, and our ability to know that in anything, this too shall pass. You get what I'm saying? So we can't sit around and say, God, please help me out of this. Please help me out of this. Come save me. Come take this burden away from me. Please come help me. What we also discover is that sometimes God is all in it, right? And I think I told somebody this story, or I think I told you guys the story. Because look, a sister got a Bible right now. I don't even have to look up on Google no more. A friend of mine gave me a Bible, y'all. So a sister's in there. And what I read, I don't know if I shared this with y'all, because I read the Bible for the stories, right? And what I read was the whole thing about the story where the disciples was in the boat, but Jesus didn't go, right? And so a storm came, and the disciples woke up and they didn't see Jesus. Jesus was out on the water. And then Peter yelled, you know, Master, is that you? If it is, tell me to come to you, or whatever he said, right? And Jesus said, come, and Peter walked on the water, right? But as soon as he felt fear, he started to sink, but God caught him, right? What is the moral of the story? Storms sometimes, and this is just my interpretation, sometimes God puts you in situations where he wants to see how resilient you are on your own. And when life gets tough and things go wrong, if you call upon him, he will be there for you. And even when you're fearful, right? That is exactly what I was going to say, Louise. Even when you're fearful, the fear is the distraction that you have, and it does nothing but make you sink. Where if he just would have stayed calm and believed, he would have made it, right? But I also love that it has a human aspect to it, because we already know that when things happen, we are going to panic. It's a natural reaction for us. It is a natural reaction that we sit up here and we say to ourselves, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's a natural reaction to doubt yourself. But just like the story that I read about the guy and the tiger, at some point, when you recognize that you are in the storm, you have to be able to calm down. You have to be able to know that this too shall pass, that my faith is strong. Like what you're saying, Louise, my faith is strong. I am going to find the good in this regardless. I know that this is not going to last forever. I know my bank account is not going to be the way it is right now forever, because I know what I'm working towards, and I know what I'm doing with my life. And it's okay for now. And I'm going to celebrate and have gratitude and love where I am right now. Because I know when I get to the next step, I'm going to appreciate everything that has happened to me, because I am going to know that it was only my faith. It was only my belief that got me to this point, right? It is knowing who I am that has allowed me to be where I am right now. It is loving myself enough to know that I can endure that has put me in this position right now. And that takes practice, right? That takes practice, because it is something new, and we've never ever have done it before, because we so used to being reactive and being nervous and not being able to figure out how we're going to get out, and crying and hoping that God would just come and save us to ease our pain. But what all of you ladies who are on here got to understand, that now we walk in a different walk. Our mindset is not the same. We have elevated. What's that saying? New levels, new devils. We have elevated, and we got to know how to handle these situations. We got to know how to control ourselves and our well-being. We have to understand our mind. and not fly off the handle, right? We have to know how to stay in self-control. We have to learn how to assess the situation and say, hey, but wait, before I act out, let me go ahead and, make sure I'm looking at everything. Let me make sure that what I'm looking at is, something that I know I can get through, right? And I'll tell y'all a quick story and I'll let y'all go. So, um, I was sitting here maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, thinking about how am I going to move uh, myself forward in these goals of investing in other businesses, right? Because that's my goal with y'all. At the end of the day, y'all, I'm building this ecosystem where we're going to have strong minds and strong bank accounts, right? And I'm not waiting for the right time. It's the right time is now, right? So I met with the girl who runs our Girls Leap. And I told her, I said, we need to start to put together a fund so we can start giving out some money, right? We need to be able to do some investing in some of our women who are here, because all of you guys are talented, right? All of you guys have something. And in my ecosystem, I want to be able to pour into you. You pour into me. I pour into you. You pour into me, right? And it's something that's never heard of. But like I told them, I said, there's so much talent in our group. There's over 10,000 of you guys. There's so much talent in this group. What the hell are we waiting for? There's no such thing as the right moment, right? So they said, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. We'll put the fund together. We'll do this, right? And so when I say that trying to get the paperwork together, trying to get all the stuff together, the team together to make it happen, we have experienced one challenge after another, to the point where when we try to get the bank to say that, we're officially a fund, right? Do you know that the people at the bank gonna tell me, oh, and let me tell you how the person did it, the bank representative. When I showed him my vision of what I wanted to do, y'all, oh, he tried to dismiss me real nice, right? He like, well, this is pretty good, but we don't give startups like yours, this kind of funding to start this, because Gloria, I'm just going to be honest with you, it is just very risky. And maybe you want to be able to try a different route, because or wait a couple of more years and you should be able to get there. I kindly took my paper back, y'all, and I said to myself, he don't know who he messing with. Because see, somebody can take that information and you can interpret that you are not enough and that you are not ready to make that move. Well, you might not be ready in his eyes. You might not be ready for what the bank says. But I swear to you, if you know that whatever it is that you are trying to pursue, that God has given you, and you are passionate about it, you will find a way to do it. You will find a way to get over those hurdles. And you don't give a damn what people say. what they believe about you, and how they think you should be. See, when everything is coming at you crazy, I believe it's God testing your resilience. But at the same time, it is stretching you to grow. Now, I could have went back home and said, you know what? Well, the man said that that I'm not ready, so I'm gonna just go ahead and put the paper down and wait to go back and tell him, oh, look, I'm ready now, right? I'm ready now. Uh, will you be able to give me the money? Hell no. No. One of the things that you can't do is you cannot stop what God has for you. Nobody can. Ladies, nobody. Nobody. And I want you to get that in your heart. Nobody can stop you from what God has put in your heart. They just not ready to receive it. Does that make sense? They just not ready to hear it. Or they're not the people that you need to go through to get it. Okay? So check out what happened. So I was talking to a friend and I said, yeah, my goal is to, start giving out uh, uh, some money to some of my ladies who have businesses, so we can do some investments. We can invest in each other, right? And so the lady says to me, I promise you she did. And she's a doctor. She said, oh, well, why you didn't tell me? Let me know and I'll go ahead and contribute. How much do you need? I'm not lying, y'all. I am not lying. And you know what we got to do, Gloria? We also got to figure out how we get this board together. We need to get on these boards so we can have more influence. And I can call a couple of people who can probably help. Now, what if I didn't say anything, y'all? And I just went home and I just let it be what that man told me. I just gave up filling out all that damn paperwork. God knows what's for you. He knows. And I know this video is long, but somebody got to hear this. He knows what he put in your heart because it was specifically designed for you. I don't care what the hell people say, what they try to advise you to do, or what they think that you should do. You follow what God is telling you to do. He gave that dream to you, not to them. He told you to go out and do his work. He told you to get out there and make it happen. And even when the storms come, he also gave you a story to let you know that if you walk out on faith, that you can walk on water. And even if you get fearful and you start to sink, he will be there to catch you. And that's all I got to say, y'all, because I know the power is real. I'm living it out with you. You get what I'm saying? I'm living it out with you. Every day I'm faced with the same damn challenges as you. But guess what? We are doing God's work. We're not worried about what people think or what they say about us. We know what we are supposed to do. And the only thing that he asks is to make sure that when you go out there and you are doing my work and my service, just tell the people who I am and love them beyond measure. Mean what you say you're going to do. Commit to what you're saying you're going to do. And I will keep my end of the bargain to make sure that I protect you, that I help you grow, and I give you the people that you need along the way to help you. And I will always have someone there to remind you that this is the path that you should be walking. And that's it. I love y'all. I got to go. But please like and share. I'm telling y'all, this is only the beginning. The things that we doing right now, ladies, is we working on this. We working on this. And once we work on this, this comes. Okay? Because this is only a mindset. That's all. But don't worry. A sister got your back. I am here to support you. I'm going to commit, you commit. Okay? Sorry for the video to be so long, but I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.